Tomorrow night's presidential debate will focus on both domestic and foreign policy. And if the vice presidential debate was any indication of what we'll see, I have a funny feeling that Libya is going to be on the list of questions. Instead of being honest about the chain of events, Biden claimed he and the president had no idea about the request for increased security at the embassy in Benghazi. Take a listen.
And they wanted more security there.
Well, we weren't told they wanted more security again. We did not know they wanted more security again.
I mean, who does Biden think he's talking to? This is not a guy from the Wisconsin State Department of Parks and Recreation, not to malign that agency, but Paul Ryan is a member of Congress, and they get briefed on this stuff. Well, that's what the White House wants you to believe, since it's backing Biden's story. So I can only imagine what version of the events the president will give tomorrow. Now, my next guest is fighting to find out the truth about the Benghazi attacks. And when he attends the debate tomorrow night, I have a feeling he's going to be paying close attention to how the president handles questions about Libya. Here with me is Utah Congressman Jason Chaffetz, joining me in studio for the very first time. How you doing, sir?
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Let's start with this one. We've seen these videos. This was not a grassroots protest based on a YouTube video. For days, the administration said this was about a YouTube video. Then they denied they said it was about a YouTube video. But they did say it, and we know this was not some grassroots protest gone awry.
I went to Libya. The Saturday before last, I went into Libya. I was the first member of Congress to go in there. I was there a good part of the day, most of the day. Not a single person, not one, ever mentioned the idea of a video. And we know from testimony from the State Department that Ambassador Stevens went outside of the compound at about 8:30 p.m. before the 9:40 p.m. assault on our consulate there. So when he went outside the gate to wish the person who was visiting him goodbye, there was no protest, there was no mob, there was no group out there. It was safe enough for him to just walk outside.
Didn't the regional security director say in testimony that he did put in a request for more security and it was denied?
What is probably most shocking about this is there were over 230 security incidents there in Libya. It's Libya.
Yeah.
It's coming up on 9/11.
We all saw Back to the Future.
It's coming up on 9/11. The British ambassador had an assassination attempt on him about a kilometer away from our consulate there. In fact, the Brits skedaddled. They got out of town. There are literally al-Qaeda flags above government buildings. It's coming up on 9/11. And then
who'd have thunk, right? Who'd have thunk it?
And the other thing is, our consulate there had been bombed twice previously. Now, I didn't know that. I think one of the core questions to the administration, when you've been bombed twice, you have 230 security interests. When you have the Brits, all this, why wasn't the president or the vice president or the secretary of state asking, what are you doing to secure the facility? Not only did they not increase the security profile, they decreased it.
Now, here's the thing I don't understand. They're saying Mitt Romney's making a big deal out of this because he went out and spoke about it at a press conference after the Cairo attack. But I'm sorry, isn't it a big deal when an ambassador gets killed and an embassy gets overrun? It's not like Romney's making this a big deal. It's kind of a big deal on its own.
This was not in somebody's playbook that on 9/11 we'd have 4 Americans murdered by terrorists. It is the first time we've lost an ambassador in the line of duty since the 1970s. What would be a crying shame is if those of us with some responsibility didn't ask hard questions, didn't pursue this. Of course we're supposed to do this. Of course it's a big deal. We have hundreds of embassies and consulates around the world. We have thousands of people serving overseas. We still have an embassy in Tripoli. So, of course, it's topical. You can't just sweep this aside. Oh, how convenient for the Obama administration. Don't ask any questions. Just trust us. Now,